Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, helloazae here, and we're back with another episode of What Remains of Edith Finch. And of course, if you have not noticed, I finally got a new mic. Oh my gosh, the fantastic quality from this microphone. You can finally hear my crystal clear, slightly awkward stutterings from here on forth. So where I last left off, we had just finished exploring, I believe, Edith's brother's memories through the letter of a psychiatrist. So the brother being Lewis on the top left corner. So from here on, we only have a few more names left to uncover. That being Dawn's, Edith's mother's, and Edie, Edith's grandmother, great-grandmother, something like that. Lots of confusion there. Great-grandmother. Anyway, we're gonna go continue on forward. Slowly walking away from this definitely trippy, very trippy area. So from the somber attitude of how, or the somber unveiling of how Lewis died.
Lewis's funeral. My mom told me to start packing.
So I suppose this is the part where Dawn really just could not take any more.
The day before we left to tell Edie.
Oh no, Edie.
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
You'd imagine it was a tough decision to make, given... I forgot how to play this game in the last little while. R1 to interact. Okay, going in. I wish we'd stayed.
But I understand why we left.
I like how the words just look like they guide you towards where you're supposed to be looking or exploring next. Edith, Mom. What's this? Dawn Finch. And I can't see the last part there. I think there's a way to zoom in, right? Sort of. Still can't make out the words there. But we're really moving forward and just moving towards the top of the Finch household. What remains? Haha. What remains isn't much left.
Ended up leaving everything behind.
Oh. I can only imagine there's scarce left, truly. To learn and to teach. 7 ways to create a fulfilling classroom. She was a author and teacher, I suppose. I really don't know much about Dawn. The father's out of the picture now. Sanjay. Disaster relief. Maybe we'll get to find out. Soon. You can only imagine a mother can take so much. A life just surrounded by death. And wanting that desire to escape from it all. In this way, at least. Because we've seen various methods of escape, and not all of which have been very, very happy or successful.
For a long time.
So something happened that night. And maybe
it should have come sooner.
Edith. I wonder if it has something to do with Edie. It's been a while since I actually remembered the actual lore of the game, in the sense of what happened to Edie and the mom.
But
Mom died later.
One way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
I suppose this is truly it, maybe. Alright guys, here we are. Edith's quill pen. And the journal we started with.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word.
Edie the grandmother.
Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
to our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very specific.
Dear.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith,
Oh,
you're
dear.
excused.
So this is an oversight? Not an oversight, but overhead view of what happened at the dining table. This is the last night, 7 years.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles.
And I suppose we'll be using the
When my mom
candles
said
to
the
guide us.
library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance.
I'm not tall enough to
She
see.
had a key to it.
You have to imagine, how did Dawn really not know about all these... Oh, small little entrances.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house.
What are you afraid of? And what's that thing,
Edith
though?
has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
Oh, dear.
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
I don't suppose she made it through that next morning. Edith Finch.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
Oh, the flashing light from a distance.
It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years.
Yeah.
God, it smelled awful.
I'd imagine.
No, I've seen that house every day of my life.
I think I remember Edith mentioning that ED would just every so often just take a look out in the distance to the house.
I'd go back to it. When
This
the
happened
fog
years
rolled
ago.
in, I lost my way.
This happened when Edith was
I got
4.
Turned around.
Maybe the best way would be to follow this side here along the rock?
For a while, I wandered.
Or just continue going forward until the game directs me towards the direction I'm supposed to be going
I
to.
started seeing things.
The deer. Was that the buck we shot? Will he guide me? What did it jump over? Am I hallucinating?
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed.
Family? The good memories, the bad?
But when
The things
I
in your
saw
house.
them, they felt like old friends.
Maybe this is a recollection of all the stories. All the things you
That
saw at one
night,
point.
A lot of things came back to me.
Oh my goodness.
Or maybe I came back to them.
And here we are. The Finch ancestral home.
Things I
From
can't
Norway.
explain, but that I
What?
need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go. I kicked and screamed, but
Oh dear.
Mom dragged me to the car.
Oh no.
I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
So maybe the answer is at the old
The
house?
next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
She was already gone?
After that, we moved around a lot.
Edie and Dawn. That poor relationship.
We both tried to make the best of it.
So I'm controlling the hand waving
A few years
around.
went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it.
Oh, dandelion
but
of
she
words.
started getting sick a lot.
Oh no.
The rest happened pretty quickly.
Oh no.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't.
Stories
And
like
then I was
these are
alone.
always quite a painful experience.
The last Finch left her.
That's the burden. Probably the biggest burden.
Until I found out about you.
Wait, what?
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes.
What did Edie see?
Appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you,
Oh no, is this
but
Edith's
now I hope you'll never see it.
Edith's
I just
child?
want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess
get it.
if you're reading this now,
Oh no.
things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone.
Oh no.
I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
18. Edith Finch. The sun. For Shirley Dallas. I suppose someone really integral to the process of the making of the game, or inspired perhaps as well. Ah. For the mother of the creative director. I see. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for experiencing this game with me. What Remains of Edith Finch is a very eye-opening experience on how people can relate to death, experience death, and even live surrounded by death. And even behind all this, there's a degree of how much you need to appreciate the life around us as well, because it's the constant factor, the constant theme here is that we will all die at some point. Yet, at the same time, we also need to remember to appreciate all the life around us, which can be cut short. This game isn't necessarily the reminder of that for me, or maybe for anyone else, but for these directors, for the creative director and these designers, programmers, artists, audio and local programmers, all these people who worked in this game. This was something they all believed in, and worked and strived to make us understand that death is an inevitable process, and all the life surrounding it is meaningful, as well. I may be rambling a bit here, but it's difficult to get the idea off my chest that this is a special game, and one that Giant Sparrow should be very, very proud of making. And I'm very thankful for have experienced this title, because it gave such a broad and diverse understanding of death. Personally, for me, if only because I have not experienced death in the same way as everyone else may have in life. I have not been surrounded by too many deaths in my life, only maybe one significant death of my grandfather. And in trying to wrap my head around that at the time, it was very difficult. It was only several years ago, but for me, it was still difficult because I was aware enough to understand that others younger than me had to struggle with this differently. People older than me had to accept it at the same time as well. For me, it was a matter of staying strong to bear the burdens that my immediate family, who were related to my grandfather at the time, had to endure on their own, because they were much closer than I was. So it was their time to grieve. Mine in a lesser sense. And then those younger than me, like younger cousins, younger sisters, etc. There was a moment of processing that they didn't understand what this meant yet. And I assume that later in their life they'll understand it. Hope maybe. Oh, Neil Druckmann's name is there. That's very interesting. Special thanks to all these individuals. So yeah, I'm slowly just glancing through the credits as it rolls as well. And just looking at that quick name of inspiration, and looking at all these pictures and memories of just the team. I start getting lost at who really is who is the team and who are the family members. Oh, look at that small little anagram. The end. The replay a story option is now available. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is indeed the true end of What Remains of Edith Finch. And for the last time, I highly recommend the audiences, or whoever else decides to watch this playthrough straight through to the end, experience this game yourself on your own time. It's quite melancholic, and it's quite, in some cases, even nostalgic at times if you've played Unfinished Swan to a small degree. And even at all walks of life, you can sort of understand difficult tension of loss, and maybe you'll garner something and experience not exactly a moment of revelation, but of understanding something different. And there's nothing more profound than learning something and understanding and creating a new thought for yourself, and let that change who you are fundamentally as a human being. So once more, thank you for watching my playthrough of my 100% OG Play Something series on What Remains of Edith Finch. If you liked the content you've seen today, and anything else you've seen so far, highly urge you to like, comment, and subscribe. If you can, as a personal favor to me, follow me on Twitter at helloazae. Cheers guys, take care, and have a great one.